Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. This is part 2 of our series. Part 1 was making this lovely little one sheet little mini album, mini booklet, mini whatever you want it to be, and we made this. If you go back to my last video, I know all my subscribers will have watched anyway, and we've done the spine on it as well. We've got the front and the back papers, but we haven't decided what we're going to do with them yet. And I'm working on the inside papers. So these are cut at 2 3/4 inches. I've sponged them round the sides, and I've done some stamping and some, you can't really even see these because these are very, very fine. I've used, in fact, if I bring them up a little bit, you might be able to see them. Yes, you can just. I can see them fairly clearly, but what I used was this rice paper. But this rice paper has got flowers woven into it, or leaves and things, and it just made for a different texture. But use what you've got. I'm making it a Christmas one, so I'm doing it with deer, and the whole theme across it is going to be deer. So I've done 5, I think, of these, or maybe 4 or 5 of these ones, with the 2 little deer on. I've done 4 or 5 of these with this stag on, and this was from a stamp that I've had for a long time. It is, no, it's not that one. It is I can't even find it now. It's a little tiny one. We're using this one for the next one. Here it is. It's a Dovecraft one, and it's this little stag, because I thought the stag looked quite nice. And then this one is a very old Stampin' Up one, which has the lovely little ones on here, so I thought we'd use that one as well. So the papers, we need to prepare them first. So I've got this from Indigo Blue, and it's a lovely background. You can use any background wording you want. You want something that is going to be quite subtle, so that so I'm using a very pale ink, and I'm just literally doing this on one side, so just like that on each one of them. And I'm just sort of getting it so that the words are up in the right direction on these, but I just want to have that little bit of words, and they don't need to be a lot. It's literally just a little bit of texture in the background, so you can take it whichever way you happen to fancy the paper. And this will only work if you've got fairly pale, non-overly patterned paper. So I'm just adding this because I just wanted some extra sort of texture going on. So that's why I'm doing the words on here. And I'm just, as I say, adding it just down on one side. So it just gives a little bit of extra texture. Because that's what I wanted. I don't want anything that is too, this is quite subtle, so all of it is quite subtle, and I don't want things that are overly subtle, stand out. So if I did it in black or dark brown or something like that, it would have stood out too much, and I don't want it to stand out. I want it quite sort of subtle. So now I'm going to use exactly the same ink. So as I say, this is a Stampin' Up one, Sahara Sand, and I'm just going to ink this one up. I need to probably ink it up. I'm going to try it on a piece of scrap to start off with, I think, because I haven't used this one for a while. Oh, beautiful. That's fine. So again, if there's stamps that you haven't used for quite a while, just give them a little bit of preparation, and this is just going to go straight in the center like that, because I love all the antlers on this one. It's one of my all-time favorites, this little one, and that's why I've decided that I'm doing these. Are just for the papers to go and decorate the inside. So we've done these. Oh, that didn't come out very well. Don't think I pressed it overly well, but again, it doesn't matter a huge amount because we're doing it so that it's just background. We need to make sure these words are the right way up there, or you could have them upside down if you wanted to be a little bit controversial. Okay, so that's those ones stamped. You can see why I did a few first. I need to keep this out because we've got to sponge around the outside, so I just need to take my sponge dauber out, which I've been using. I think it was this one. And all I want to do is to just sponge around the sides of these ones. So then we've got, I think you need 15, 15, 16, 17 with the front and back of these. So you can get 4 out of a sheet of 6 by 6 quite easily. So, you know, just choose the pattern papers that you like that are going to sort of go together, because it's all about, you know, coordinating things that work for you. If you want to make it, you know, fill it full of ephemera and little things like that, you can put little pockets and things on the front. I think it can become too bulky, so you'll find that it doesn't close particularly well, whereas doing it with tags and not having too many layers. So if you have lots of die cuts and things on it, you'll probably find that it will be it'll be a bit bulky and won't close very well. So I don't tend to overfill it with things. As I say, I quite like tags. I think tags are lovely because you can do tags for birthdays, and obviously tags at Christmas. My goodness, how many do we go through? If I think of all the little stocking filler presents, I have 6 grandchildren, as you know, so you know, by the time I've bought for all of them, and then I've got my son and daughter-in-laws, and then I've got, you know, friends and things for work with sort of little secret Santas and just little gifts and stuff like that. So, you know, I do use quite a lot of tags. And then again, I have friends who are always turning around and saying, you know, oh, you're doing tags this year, and you know, they will have tags. I belong to quite a lot of different swap groups, rack groups. Racks are random acts of kindness. I belong to a pen pal group now. So, you know, again, little things like this are quite good to just go in, although you have to be a little bit careful with the thickness for the postage. So you would have to, it would have to go into a small parcel rather than a letter because of the thickness. That's in the UK. I know different countries, we have all sorts of different rules and things like that on. So, right, those are all done now. So now we need to work out how we're going to put them in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in 3 different piles. So I've got these, which are, do we have 5? And I've got this one. So if I'm not doing the front cover yet because I haven't decided what I'm going to do it, but if I go in on here, I need to have, I'm going to have this one here. because I really like this paper. So, you know, decide roughly where you're going to put them. And then we just need to glue them in. Now, when we put them in, you'll see that you've probably got where your little tag is, or where we punched it out, a little bit that's coming over. Now that's fine, because what we'll do is when we get to the end, so try not to glue, which I just did on the first one, into that little piece there, because then it's easier to punch it out when it's not overly stuck. However, I don't need to worry about that one because it's going on here. So literally just glue it in so that it's nice and even. Put that there so it's stuck down. Okay, so that's the first two, 1, 2, and then I'm going to have this one here. Now this is where we need to start working and not put it just on this little top piece on here right at the top, because then it makes it easier to punch out afterwards. So I'm just lining that up. That's that one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then this one goes on here again. So that one can go on here. Don't think I've got quite enough of all of those, but hopefully I've got enough that it's not, I don't want two that are together. So this is a side one. So 1, middle one. Oh, that's quite good. It does come so that it's slightly different on there. Whoops. On here too. I do like this paper. I think it's quite pretty. I've had it for, it's the thing again, you know, when I keep saying use what you've got in your stash. My goodness, I've got so much paper, and I just don't use it enough. So I just like to make sure that I've got, you know, I start using what I've got. And I know a lot of you are exactly the same, who've turned around and said, you know, I could open up my own craft shop. Yes, I could as well. I've got so much that I've used little bits of, and then I put it away, and then I don't get it out again, and so I'm using what I've got, and I'm being quite careful on what I buy. That one, this one. So it's quite nice to do that, because you know, you then start using up your stash, and it's one of those things, you know, it's I'm never going to not use some of my stuff. You know, I'm never going to not buy, because I'm a crafter. And you know, I've got a craft fair to go to next month in September, and in fact I'm planning to do a walk round so that you can get to see, because I know quite a few of you from different countries don't get to see you know, all of these the different crafts and things that we have in the UK, and they're not always universal, so it's quite fun sometimes to see, you know, the different things that we have in the UK compared to what other people have in you know, America and Canada and Australia, and it's quite fun. So I thought I'd bring you along on that, and I'm hoping not to spend too much money, says me, but I do like craft fairs, because and it's a big one. So it's the, you know, it's the sort of thing that you go, oh, lots of things here to look at, and they have all sorts of, you know, the new products and things that are coming out. So it's the sort of thing to then have a look at and go, oh, I actually think I can do, you know, different things with it. And or I've got something in my stash that will work with this, and I can do it with what I've got rather than buying new. So I'm just taking this one, and we've got, this is the last. Oh no, I'm one short. Oh no, I'm not, I've got two. Oh, isn't that interesting? I didn't realise. So the back two are going to be the same, but it doesn't matter. The papers are different, but the images is the same. So put that in there, and then put this one in on the back. There we go. Okay, so that's all of the inside ones done, and I just need to, and you see how lovely that looks with all of the sort of the deer pictures on there. So I need to decide what I'm going to do on the front and the back, and I don't know quite yet, so I'm keeping that to one side. What I do need to do is to now take my punch, which is here, and I can now go through on just in where we were and just take it so that I just snip those two little pieces off. And you need to wait for it to dry if you've got glue on it, which I know I have, so I'm hoping it's going to be okay, but it should be. But then you make sure that your little tag pieces or your little thumb pieces are exactly the right size. So just take it in on there, and oh, it needs to be a little bit further down, doesn't it? Oh, come on. Oh, now this is where I've got it just a little bit. Just get there. Now I've either got too much glue on here or not enough. Let me just put that down and see if I can stand up and give it a... Oh, sorry, knocking the camera. Right, that one I'm going to have to wait for the glue to dry on there because it's just a bit wet, so it's not coming out. But I'll do that once it's dried, and I'm hopefully can get these ones in, but you do need to just, that's fine, wait until the, oh, it's not quite straight. Wait until your glue has dried if you've got it on there, because otherwise you're trying to punch through wet, and that doesn't work very well. So do this one up on here. I think this is a wet one as well, so I'm going to wait a minute for that one. And I'll do those afterwards, as I say, once the glue has dried, because if you've got a bit of glue in there, you'll find that it won't punch out very easily. If you haven't got glue in there, then as you can see, it punches out quite nicely. But once the glue's dried, then it will then go back to being hard and being an easy one to punch out. So we've done all of those. I've just got this one here, which is just a little bit wet. We'll try it again and see. No, I'm going to have to do it afterwards, and that's fine. I just need to have a little bit of patience. So that's given us all of the lovely bits inside, apart from the ones that I've got to do. and then we need to just work on what we're going to do with the cover. So again, I want to sponge around it first of all. So let's sponge around it first with my sponge dauber. And then I do need to do the same stamping so that it's then uniform. Otherwise it's going to look a bit odd. But I think I'm going to do the 2 deer, but I'm going to do them in probably gold or something like that, because I want it to be, the front can stick out a little bit more, so I want it to be a little bit more fancy. I think I might need to re-ink this pad. It's a little bit dry now. I've used it quite a lot, so it's all right for the stamping, but just around the edges. And I was probably doing that right off camera, so excuse me if I was. I might not have been, but I tend to sometimes go off-piste a bit, as we say. Okay, so that's that bit. Now, for this one, I'm going to put that on there like that for now, and then I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do these deer, but I'm going to do them in sort of gold or something to go on the front. But I can stick these pieces on now because I know that I'm not going to do any stamping on it. It's going to be a die cut of some sort because I want it, I don't mind it being built up a bit. So let's put this, doesn't really matter what direction. I think I wanted this one on the front actually. So let's glue this one on the front first, because this has got the rather interesting bit of text on there, which I think is quite nice. So that can go in there on the centre, and that one's going to go on the back. Like that. And I will carry on and do, what are we like time wise? Yes, we're getting at the right time. So I will carry on and do the outside part of that, and then come back for part 3, where we will be doing all of the little tags and things to go in there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 little tags or ephemera pieces to put inside. So come back for part 3 and I'll show you how to do that. So thank you so much for watching me. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.